Television has long been drawn to the shadows of the human soul, fascinated by the darkness that lurks just beneath the surface of everyday life. For decades, the small screen has served as a mirror, reflecting not only our hopes and dreams, but also our deepest fears and the monsters that haunt our collective imagination. Through true crime documentaries, chilling dramas, and psychological thrillers, TV has explored the boundaries of good and evil, often blurring the line between the two. And few stories are darker or more unsettling than that of Ed Gein. His crimes, committed in the quiet isolation of rural Wisconsin, shocked the world and left a permanent scar on American culture. The eerie silence of his farmhouse, the chilling discoveries made by police, and the twisted legacy he left behind have inspired countless retellings, each more haunting than the last. In 2025, Netflix's Monster, the Ed Gein story, from acclaimed creators Ryan Murphy and Ian Brennan, turned its lens on the quiet Wisconsin man whose gruesome acts inspired horror classics like Psycho and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The series promised not just a retelling of familiar crimes, but a deeper exploration of the man behind the myth, challenging viewers to confront the uncomfortable truths at the heart of the story. Charlie Hunnam, best known for his intense performances in Sons of Anarchy, took on the daunting role of Ed Gein. To embody such a complex and disturbing figure, Hunnam underwent a complete transformation, physically, emotionally, and psychologically. The process demanded not only a change in appearance, but a willingness to step into the shoes of a man whose actions defy comprehension. Hunnam's approach was not to create a monster for entertainment, but to understand the broken human behind the myth. He built the character from the inside out, searching for the motivations, traumas, and vulnerabilities that shaped Gein's life. This method required empathy, patience, and a willingness to confront the darkest corners of the human psyche. This essay explores Hunnam's exhaustive research, which included poring over police reports, reading psychological profiles, and studying the cultural impact of Gein's crimes. He immersed himself in the details, seeking to understand not just what Gein did, but why he did it. We'll examine his quest to find Gein's voice, the psychological toll of inhabiting such a troubled mind, and the emotional challenges that come with portraying real-life horror. The process was grueling, often leaving Hunnam emotionally drained and questioning the very nature of evil. Ultimately, we'll consider the importance of empathy in telling stories like these, how understanding, rather than sensationalizing, can lead to a more honest and impactful portrayal. In a world fascinated by monsters, it's the human story beneath the horror that lingers long after the credits roll. Charlie Hunnam's preparation for the role of Ed Gein began months before filming even started, marked by an unwavering commitment to understanding the man behind the myth. Hunnam immersed himself in the bleak, snow-covered landscapes of rural Wisconsin, trying to imagine the isolation that shaped Gein's formative years. He wanted to grasp not just the facts, but the emotional reality of growing up in such a remote, stifling environment, where the outside world felt impossibly far away, and every day was colored by a sense of loneliness and unease. Central to Hunnam's research was the toxic, all-consuming relationship Gein had with his mother, Augusta. She was a domineering, deeply religious woman who instilled in her son a fear of sin and a mistrust of the outside world, shaping his worldview in ways that would haunt him for life. Hunnam pored over every available resource, biographies, court transcripts, and even disturbing crime scene photos, determined to dig beneath the surface. He wasn't looking to excuse Gein's actions, but to uncover the psychological roots that made such horrors possible. He wanted to understand the layers of trauma, repression, and confusion that built up over decades, ultimately erupting in violence. Much of Hunnam's focus was on Gein's early life, seeing him as a man emotionally frozen in time, a perpetual child, desperate for his mother's approval, and unable to form healthy relationships with anyone else. The isolation of his childhood, combined with his mother's suffocating influence, left him ill-equipped to face the world as an adult. He studied the family's dynamics in detail: a weak, passive father who offered little protection or guidance, and a mother whose fanaticism and emotional manipulation stunted Gein's development. Hunnam saw how this toxic environment created a perfect storm for psychological damage. The research process became, for Hunnam, an act of psychological archaeology. He sifted through decades of sensational headlines and lurid speculation, searching for the emotional truth buried beneath the infamy. Each new discovery added another layer to his understanding of Gein's fractured psyche. Hunnam was especially drawn to the period after Gein's mother died, a time marked by profound loneliness, confusion, and grief. He saw this loss as the catalyst that unleashed Gein's most horrific acts, transforming his internal torment into outward violence. By focusing on these deeply human, if tragically pathological motivations, Hunnam ensured his performance was more than just a portrayal of a monster. Instead, he crafted a nuanced, tragic character study, one that invites the audience to confront the uncomfortable reality that even the darkest figures in history are shaped by their circumstances, and that understanding does not mean condoning. One of Hunnam's greatest challenges was recreating Ed Gein's voice, described as high-pitched and childlike, yet elusive in recordings. After a determined search, Hunnam unearthed a rare interview tape, revealing a soft, sing-song cadence that was both disarming and unsettling. He theorized this voice was a childhood affectation to appease his mother, a vocal mask to appear harmless. Working with a dialect coach, Hunnam internalized not just the sound, but the psychology behind it. Director Max Winkler described the result as a blend of innocence and menace, perfectly capturing Gein's unnerving duality. Once Hunnam found the voice, the rest of Gein's mannerisms, his awkwardness, his averted gaze, fell into place. This vocal transformation became the cornerstone of Hunnam's entire performance. From the start, Hunnam and the creators aimed to tell a story about mental health, not just horror. The series reframes Gein's narrative, focusing on the devastating effects of abuse and isolation, rather than sensationalizing his crimes. Hunnam's performance is rooted in this context, showing a man warped by decades of emotional abuse and cut off from society. The show doesn't excuse Gein, but it traces a chilling trajectory from vulnerability to monstrosity. By humanizing Gein, not for sympathy, but for understanding, the series challenges viewers to confront the societal failures that breed such darkness. Ultimately, Monster uses Gein's story to spark a broader conversation about mental health care and the cost of neglect. Immersing himself in Gein's psyche took a heavy toll on Hunnam, blurring the line between actor and character. The darkness of the material seeped into his subconscious, leading to nightmares and emotional distress. Hunnam's method approach meant living in a state of heightened sadness and isolation for months, affecting his personal life. His partner, Morgana McNeilis, urged him to find ways to decompress and separate from the role. The daily transformation was grueling, and the emotional residue was hard to shake. Hunnam developed strategies to protect his mental health, gaining a new appreciation for the resilience required in his profession. The emotional weight was a testament to his commitment, but he realized he needed a powerful process to return to himself. As a veteran of Ryan Murphy's productions, I've learned firsthand how essential it is to prioritize self-care, especially when diving into emotionally demanding roles. When I met Charlie, I could see the weight of his new character already settling on his shoulders. I shared with him the importance of developing personal rituals, small acts that help you step away from the darkness of a role and return to yourself at the end of each day. These rituals can be as simple as taking a few deep breaths, lighting a candle, or even just washing your hands. Anything that signals to your mind and body that the work is done for now, and it's time to reconnect with your own emotions. I encouraged Charlie to find what worked for him, whether it was listening to music that lifted his spirits, stretching out the tension from a tough scene, or simply changing his posture to remind himself he was no longer in character. These boundaries are crucial, not just for mental health, but for sustaining creativity over the long haul. We also talked about the responsibility that comes with portraying complex, often troubled characters. It's easy to get lost in the darkness, but I reminded him that our job is to approach these stories with empathy, not judgment. We must always look for the humanity in every character, no matter how flawed. By focusing on the character's humanity, we create a safe anchor, a way to ground ourselves and avoid being overwhelmed by the role's intensity. This approach not only deepens the performance, making it more authentic and relatable, but it also serves as a protective barrier for the actor's own well-being. I told Charlie that it's just as important to step away, to laugh, and to find moments of lightness with the people around you. Taking breaks and enjoying the camaraderie of the set can be a lifeline. The cast and crew become your support system, a family that understands the unique challenges of this work. Leaning on them, sharing your struggles, and celebrating small victories together can make all the difference. I encouraged him to never hesitate to reach out, to confide in a colleague, or to ask for help when the emotional toll felt too heavy. Vulnerability is a strength, not a weakness, in this line of work. And above all, I reminded him to seek out moments of levity, those shared jokes, spontaneous laughter, and light-hearted memories that can lift the spirit and keep the darkness at bay. Charlie listened intently, understanding the gravity of the role he was about to take on. He knew it would be a journey through difficult emotional terrain, but with these tools and the support of those around him, he was prepared to navigate it with care, compassion, and resilience. After filming wrapped, Hunnam felt Gein's presence linger and sought closure through a personal pilgrimage to Plainfield, Wisconsin. The journey was not morbid curiosity, but a ritual to put the character to rest and reclaim his own identity. At Plainfield Cemetery, Hunnam performed a private ritual, speaking aloud to Gein and expressing hope that he'd told the story with integrity. He told Gein the work was done and asked his spirit not to follow him home. This act of letting go was a powerful end to Hunnam's journey, honoring both the role and his own well-being. The pilgrimage highlights the extraordinary measures actors take to protect their mental health. For Hunnam, it was a necessary final step in separating art from life. Separating oneself from a character is a profound challenge for any actor, especially after months inhabiting a mind as dark as Gein's. Hunnam learned early in his career the importance of maintaining a strong sense of self outside the work. The actor's burden is to carry a character's emotional truth without being crushed by it, balancing empathy with detachment. Nightmares and emotional bleed-over signaled Hunnam's deep empathy, but also the need for greater detachment. Actors develop unique toolkits, physical activity, time in nature, symbolic journeys, to cleanse themselves of past roles. These are not indulgences, but necessities for survival in the craft. The ability to transform is an actor's gift. The ability to return to oneself is essential for survival. Retelling Ed Gein's story comes with ethical responsibility, but when told with empathy, it becomes a powerful cautionary tale. Monster. The Ed Gein story, through Hunnam's performance, forces us to confront the roots of horror, abuse, isolation, and failed mental health systems. Dismissing Gein as a simple monster misses the chance to learn from the circumstances that created him. Hunnam's commitment to portraying Gein's humanity elevates the series from true crime thriller to profound human drama. The emotional toll on actors is part of their commitment to telling these stories truthfully and responsibly. By telling such stories with care and psychological inquiry, we engage in vital cultural conversations about good, evil, and empathy. It is a difficult, often painful task, but an essential one.